beauties, it's Brittany. I'm on here today to share with you how I clean my makeup brushes. If you were to see my vanity in front of me right now, you would say I have a problem, for one. Or if you're a fellow makeup lover like myself, you would be ecstatic to see all of these brushes. So in having all of these, sometimes I have to take like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and just like have some time to myself, put on a nice podcast, put on an audiobook, put on some music, and like clean my brushes. So step number 1 is to gather all of the dirty brushes. I tend to stick my makeup brushes that are dirty in another cup, like far away from me, so that I stop using them. So once they're to the point where like, okay, this needs to be cleaned, you cannot use it anymore unless you hardcore clean it, you've spot cleaned it enough, it's time for it to get a good old bath. I then separate the eye brushes from the face brushes. I get together all of my supplies. So I have a cleaning mat from Sigma. This is the tinier version. I do recommend the larger version. I wish I would have purchased the larger version, but the smaller version is what I am working with. I also really want to purchase the mitt, like the cleaning mitt, because I feel like that would be really helpful as well. But I digress. I have the cleaning mat. I stick that on the bottom of my sink. First I clean my sink, then I stick it on the bottom of my sink. Then I get a mug. Any mug will do. I pour some dish soap in there. Dawn dish soap doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can use generic. We buy regular just Dawn dish soap here. So fill that up as much as you think you're gonna need, depending on how many brushes you have to clean. If you're just cleaning eye brushes, you'll definitely need less than if you're cleaning big old face brushes like this guy right here. This can take a lot of soap. So kind of determine how much soap you think you need, and then I do a dot or two of olive oil. Be very, very light-handed with this. Less is better. You don't want your brushes to be greasy, but you do want them to maintain their soft feel. Some people say that dish soap doesn't dry them out and they just use dish soap. This is the technique I use, so this is what I'm sharing with you. Fill a mug up with dish soap, put a couple dabs of olive oil, mix it together, and then I'm set to go. So I have my cleaning mat, my mug, then I have my cup that had my brushes in it, and what I do is I fill this with water. This way, the water is not running like the entire time I'm cleaning my brushes. Just have a cup of water next to the sink. I then can take the makeup brush, dip it into the water, dip it into the soap, and then begin the process of cleaning it on the mat. This is really, really great because, again, the water won't be running the whole time, and it won't take as much time either because you have this little assembly line that you're doing. Dip it in the water, dip it in the soap, put it on the mat. Another tool that I need is a towel. So I lay a towel on one side of my sink. I completely clean off the whole countertop and the sink area and everything just so that I have my whole space. It's like this spa night for my brushes. It's a pain in the butt, but it really, if I make it this thing that's kind of like a relaxing, listening to some podcasts night, then it makes it a little bit more bearable. So I've got my towel, my soap, my cup with my soap and my oil, my cup with water, and my mat, and I'm good to go. Start with my face brushes. Dip it in the water, dip it in the soap, put it on the mat. Really scrub that brush. I tend to look at it and make sure that the color has been removed. If it's a really thick brush that's been used for bronzer or a brush that's been used for foundation, you will need to either pour a little bit of the water onto the mat to remove some of the brown gook or whatever, or run the water for a little bit so that it's not kind of continuously getting onto the other brushes. And then what I do is I sit the brush on the side. Leave the soap on there. I don't rinse it off right away. I go through all of the face brushes first before I begin the rinsing off process. So dip it in the water, dip it in the soap, put it on the mat, then sit it down. Then I do that same process for all of the face brushes. I do all of the face brushes individually. When it comes to the eye ones, I do tend to pair them up. But as for the face ones, I do them all individually. Water, soap, mat, water, soap, mat. Sit them all on the side till I finish all of them. Sometimes then I will begin the rinsing process. Other times I'll go on to the eye brushes too. This day I decided to do the eye brushes as well. So sometimes I will pair some similar brushes together. So like these two from Sigma, the blending E25s, are exactly the same, and I have 3 of them. So I'll just grab all 3 of them, dip it in the water, dip it in the soap, and then begin the process of rubbing it onto the mat. I love this mat. It's really, really helped. But if you are on a budget, you don't have the money to spend on this mat, what I used to do was I would put a plate at the bottom of the sink and then put a rag on top, and the texture of the rag would also help to remove a lot of the product. I prefer the mat, but again, I totally understand if you don't have $25 in your pocket to be spending on a makeup cleansing mat, I totally get you. There are other ways. So I pair those eye brushes up. Again, do not rinse them. I just start a little line all along the sink. If you were doing this at a kitchen sink, you would definitely have more space. It starts to get a little claustrophobic in my sink area once I begin this process, but do all of that. Water, soap, mat, water, soap, mat. Let them sit with the soap in them, and then I begin the rinsing process. This is where the mitt from Sigma would come in handy because my hands get very, very raw, and I also don't want to ruin my nails. So just have to stick it out or buy like regular gloves that you would use to clean your sink. Definitely an option. I just thought of that, and I might end up doing that. So grab the brush, any brush that you need to, face brush, eye brush, whatever you want to start with. Then this is when you start running the water. You do want to be sure that you're shutting it off whenever you can because you don't want to be wasting a bunch of water, but you will need to use quite a bit of water in order to wash these brushes. So I use the mat to remove all of the excess soap and goop and all of that stuff. I also use my hand during this process. Something else that you may need to do is with that cup of water that you have, sit the brush in there upside down if it's a really, really tough brush. Sometimes there are just those brushes that do not want to let go of the soap, and this is where you might have to do that. But I always recommend keeping your brushes facing downward. At no point do you want to run water into the brush like this. You want to be keeping it facing downwards so that soap is not getting into the barrel of the brush, loosening up the glue or anything like that. Keep it facing downwards at all times during the soap process, during the rinsing process, everything. Keep it facing downward. Such a good technique to keep your brushes lasting a really long time. Brushes are expensive. You want to take care of them, and you want to be sure that you are washing them properly so that they do not get destroyed. This will take a very long time. Rinse, 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 rinse. You can also mix together those eye brushes. Like I said, I have similar shaped ones, blending ones all kind of go together. I will rinse those at the same time as well. Then this is where the towel comes into hand. So I will lay them up on the towel. I lay them flat when I am putting them on the towel. I don't dry them sideways, but this is where I place them in the meantime before I bring them into my room for drying. So place them on the towel, laying flat like this, not upright like this or anything like that. Lay them flat. Sometimes I will also remove some of the excess water onto the towel. You can always wring it out with your fingers, whatever you see fit, but make sure that it's not like sopping wet. You do want to wring out all of the excess and make sure all of the soap is out of there. No matter how difficult it is, work at it. So then after that, I roll up the towel, I bring it into my room, and this is where I dry my brushes. And by dry them, I just mean wait for them to dry themselves. I have these little shaping pieces that I have gotten from Amazon or throughout ordering different kinds of makeup brushes. Oftentimes they come with them, which is so cool. I will pull these little pieces over the barrel of the brush onto where the bristles are. This keeps the shape really, really well. And then I will put them upside down on a towel. Put as many of these shaping things as I have onto all of the brushes that I have. Put them upside down. If they're kind of smaller brushes or oddly shaped brushes, or ones like the foundation brushes from Sigma that don't really need to be shaped, I will lay them flat or upside down with no shaping piece on it. Once all of them have their shaping little cloth things on them, I don't know what these are called, then I just let them dry overnight. I don't take out any blow dryer, I don't do anything crazy, I don't want to ruin the bristles in any way, shape, or form, so I just keep them in their little shaping forms, put them upside down so that the water can drain outwards instead of inwards into the bristles or into the barrel or anything like that, messing up the ferrule and the glue and all of that mess. So just make sure that you're keeping them upside down. Make sure that you're using soap that has antibacterial properties but also is not going to dry out the brushes. Make sure you're wringing them out as much as you possibly can and make sure all of the soap is removed. At the end of a day or so, when they've had time to dry, I take off the drying pieces and I put them in my makeup little containers that I have on my vanity. I love this technique. It's worked for me for years. I highly recommend it. If you have any recommendations in the comments below, please let me know. I also have some recommendations for spot cleaning. Of course, the Cinema Secrets Makeup Brush Cleanser. This is a quick drying formula. It smells really good. You can only order this at Sephora online. Just today, I picked up a Japanesque spray from Ulta. This is a makeup brush cleanser in the rose water scent, and it's a little spot cleaner. These are really good. I just used this today, but it got the stuff out of my brushes really, really well. So I do recommend it. This one can be found at Ulta stores. This one can only be ordered on Sephora.com or the Cinema Secrets website. So while spot cleaning is great, I highly recommend it for throughout the week. I'm super busy. I know we are all very busy. Ain't nobody got time to clean their makeup brushes every single week. So use those little spot cleaning techniques throughout the week, and then when you find that you need to really deep clean your brushes, some olive oil, dish soap, towel, water, a little cleansing mat or rag, and you are good to go. Take care of your brushes. They get super gross and dirty. You don't want to be breaking out from your makeup brushes. There are so many other things that can break you out in your routine. Do not let it be your brushes. I hope you guys enjoy. Send me pictures on Instagram and Twitter of your clean makeup brushes, because I want to see beautiful, sparkling, clean brushes, and I will see you all very, very soon in my next video. Bye, guys! Hello, beauties. It's Brittany. I wanted to do a first impression, kind of second impression, because I have worn this once, but I didn't kind of like analyze my skin that day, and today I'm going to take a real nice hard look for you on how this